Hello and welcome to the video on motherboards again. I've already spoken about roughly what things are, the memory and the slots and things like that. But one thing I did try to stay away from a little bit was this thing over here and these two things here. I went into these two things slightly, but I was being a little bit naughty with the way I was saying things. So I wanted to make sure that everything was very clear about what these things were. They're very important things. So on this video, I'll do what this is. And on the next video, I'll do what exactly this is and what exactly this is. So first of all, what is this? Well, this is a pretty important part of the motherboard. It kind of goes into what I was saying about these buses, these things that are all over the place. This will have a chipset underneath it. This is called the chipset, the motherboard's chipset. So the motherboard chipset is a pretty important part of the entire thing. It's similar to what I was saying before when you might want to close ports off, but I was being a little bit naughty because I didn't completely tell the truth there. I was just doing it in a general sort of an idea rather than being exact. So I want to be very exact here. So the chipset on the motherboard, it used to be a lot less powerful, but and I don't just mean the amount of speeds or the operations and things it has, but nowadays when I get a motherboard, I would expect some certain things to already be functional on there. So I might want something like, remember I was saying about the sound cards, and I can go down here and put the sound card in here, and you would get this output, and then I can put my cables into the back. Well, perhaps I want this thing here has sound in it already. Maybe there's an in and out of audio in and out sort of thing there, and that's just so I can plug my headphones in and plug a microphone in, all that sort of stuff. Well, the thing that's running that is this chipset, and this chipset will be responsible for effectively for things talking to each other, and it'll be effectively responsible for giving functionality to this. So I might want sound. These are the kinds of things that it'll be responsible for. I might want sound. I might want Wi-Fi, because otherwise I'm going to have to put another slot in. So I'd have to have a sound card. I'd have to have a Wi-Fi card. I'd need to do a lot of other things here, which is it then uses up all of these lanes, all of these these external expansion slots. And this isn't good, right? I want to be the most useful motherboard on the market effectively. So the chipset started to add other things. One important thing they started to add, and so do CPUs as well, have a lot of different functionalities now. But both of them tend to come with cryptography stuff. And I definitely won't get into it right now. But suffice it to say that the security of the motherboard is kind of related, at the lowest level at the very least, is related to what this is and what the chipset is. So the chipset is looking after little bits of security. Now, this is a relatively new concept because it really was the chipset never really did too much of the security side of things. It didn't do too much crypto, and we will in later courses go through exactly what the chipset is doing and how motherboard security, like low level hardware security, is working. So things like you might have heard the trusted platform. Sorry, that's my dyslexia playing up. It just wants to write whatever it thinks. The trusted platform module is another part of the cryptography thing, which we'll talk about, and it's on hardware, right? It's quite low level. So the point of me saying this is that it's quite an important. This chipset's got quite an important job, really. It gives you functionality. Now I know in certain chipsets like Intel, for example, they had a north and a southbound chipset. They broke this into two effectively, and not physically, logically. So obviously they wouldn't break a chipboard into two, but effectively one of them were very very fast. They were very fast high channel things here, and that would be connected to the CPU. And I think that was I think it was the north and the south, and you can kind of the natural orientation for this would be to spin this 90 degrees, right? So this thing here should be vertical this way up. So this way up. And this ROG sign should be facing up. So originally, so you'd get this, there's this here, and then there's this thing here. It looks like a bit of an eye sort of thing. Well, this eye here would look like that. That's a really, really, really terrible drawing. I do apologize, but this is how it would look effectively. That's the natural orientation for it. So if it makes sense then that Intel created a north bridge and a south bridge, because it's kind of going into the peripherals and it's going into the CPU. Now there are some standard connectivity between these two things here. Oh, sorry. There's some standard connectivity between these two here. Let me use this marker actually. And these two things have highly fast connections. So this chipset would be sort of passing the information around, as it were. It would have highways to go to these. They'd be very, very fast. And you might have one of these going into that as well. So it may be one of these boards here, which is probably your graphics card. It's going to be the most important one, which is the most important expansion slot. It's probably going to be a graphics card. You know, it's the thing that's going to be showing you the display, so you best get the graphics card right. So it'll have super fast. Also, it needs super fast connection to the CPU and the RAM and things like that. Even though it's got its own CPU and RAM, which we'll go into afterwards, but still. So then they have another channel. So the channel then on this side of the chipset, and they're not this big, obviously. This is just a heatsink. So the side of this chipset, then it will then be connected to this memory slot here. This M2 that we were talking about. This hard drive type thing. And it probably be connected to all of the other ports. It's not a very good color. So it'd probably be connected to all the other ports. It'd be connected to here. It would be connected to all the other little things that don't need as fast communication effectively. So this is what the chipset's doing. It's helping talk among the components effectively.